For years, we've been telling Marvel and DC Comics what's wrong with their approach. Too much convoluted history, reboots, relaunches, too many events, pandering to Hollywood instead of actual comic book fans, meaningless deaths, bad creative, and what do they call us? Toxic, gatekeepers, problematic fans who just couldn't handle a little bit of change in comic books. Ultimate Spider-Man is the best-selling comic book at Marvel Comics. Absolute Batman broke sales record and continues leading the industry in sales. Hell, even the Energon universe is competing with the big two these days. This isn't about sales numbers. This is about vindication. After years of being told that we were wrong, that we needed to evolve with the times, that our criticism was just nostalgia talking, the most successful comics of 2024 and 2025 are doing exactly what we said they should be doing all along. Today, we're breaking down 3 massive comic successes: Ultimate Spider-Man, the Absolute Universe, the Energon universe, that proved the fan criticism wasn't toxic, it was prophecy. And we're going to talk about why the comic book industry finally listened and what this means for the future of comics. Let's start with Marvel's big success story. Ultimate Spider-Man #1 by Jonathan Hickman and Marco Checchetto didn't just sell well, it dominated. Multiple sellouts, consistent top spots in sales charts. It's been Marvel's #1 book for over a year now. But here's the thing that matters. This isn't just any Spider-Man book. This is the Spider-Man book that longtime fans have been begging for. Peter Parker is finally allowed to be an adult again. He's allowed to be married. He's allowed to have children. He's allowed to progress and grow as a character. Marvel has spent over 20 years denying that this is what fans actually wanted. They implemented One More Day. They want to keep Spider-Man perpetually young. Spider-Man fans, Marvel fans have been begging, please just let the character grow up. And we're finally getting that with Ultimate Spider-Man. Then we have DC's Absolute Universe, Absolute Batman, Absolute Superman, Absolute Wonder Woman. And they're all massive hits. Why? Because DC finally started delivering something that felt new, fresh, and exciting. They let an actual comic book superstar in Scott Snyder deliver a comic book line he had been pitching for years. It's very accessible to new readers, and it provides a very fresh take on most of these heroes. Batman doesn't grow up rich. He actually grows up pretty poor. Superman doesn't arrive on Earth as a child. Wonder Woman isn't from Themyscira. She grew up in hell. Now she's fighting monsters and looking for mythical artifacts. And Absolute Batman outsold everything and continues to outsell everything, proving that fans not only want awesome fresh takes on these characters, but they want the best creators involved as well. They want superstars like Scott Snyder. They want awesome talent that had yet to be discovered by DC Comics fans in Nick Dragotta. And the book absolutely blew up. And not only do you get fresh takes on all these DC heroes, you get some pretty damn good storytelling as well. This is all character-driven stuff. It's not event-driven comic books, and people are really starting to get attached to these versions of the characters. And the proof is in the pudding. By February of 2025, the Absolute Universe had already sold over 2.5 million units to comic shops. And then there's the Energon universe from Skybound, Transformers and G.I. Joe comics that are actually competing with Marvel and DC on the sales charts. How? By treating these characters with respect instead of trying to deconstruct them or make them relevant for modern audiences. When Hasbro took the license away from IDW and gave it to Skybound, I was very hopeful. Robert Kirkman is a great comic book creator overseeing the line, and he got the assignment from day one. Show how amazing they are. Spotlight what a cool universe the Transformers and G.I. Joe characters can share at one time. And the way that they've modernized the franchise is to throw real stakes in there. Character deaths that matter, no fake out marketing. Indie Comics has been the best place in the entire industry for a couple of years now, basically on the back of the Energon universe, along with Ghost Machine, along with Conan the Barbarian, along with Space Ghost and Flash. A lot of these awesome comic books that have been coming out. And guess what they all have in common? No woke messaging or agenda. Just good stories about characters people love. You treat them with reverence, you treat them with respect, you give real fan service, meaning you make these characters look awesome, you stop lecturing the fans, and they absolutely will come back and support their favorite characters. Quick break to say thank you to our Patreon backers who make these kind of videos possible. If you're getting value from this channel and want to support independent comic criticism that actually holds the industry accountable, consider joining our Patreon community. You'll get exclusive content and help us keep delivering the unfiltered takes you won't find anywhere else on YouTube. Link in the video description. Why did Marvel, DC, and other publishers suddenly start doing what we've been telling them to do for years? Because the alternative was bankruptcy. The traditional approach was failing so spectacularly that even corporate suits couldn't ignore it anymore. Comic book sales had been in a free fall for quite some time. In fact, Phil Boyle at Coliseum of Comics just a year and a half ago said, hey, I'm very worried about the future of the industry. There might not be a future if we don't actually start making better comic books. Marvel Comics continued to try and chase down the MCU bubble that was happening. Unfortunately, it also burst, and that kind of MCU fatigue started to drift over into becoming comic book fatigue. And probably the biggest factor in all of this was the demographic shift. Marvel and DC were working so hard to find this mythical brand new audience that they ended up chasing off maybe half of their existing audience to get there. The problem was none of the new people showed up, and DC and Marvel and indie publishers had to do something to finally get those lapsed readers back into comic book shops. Thankfully, manga, indie comic books, and crowdfunding comics were there, showing them the way that there were people ready to support comic books and be very enthusiastic about it, but you had to deliver books that they actually wanted to read. And of course, we predicted and covered this collapse right here on the channel, warning everyone that these were unsustainable practices for years. This vindication feels good, but we can't get complacent. The industry listened this time because they had to, but corporate memory is short. And the moment these new universes start to plateau, they'll be tempted to go back to their old tricks. History does have a habit of repeating itself. Even the original incarnation of Marvel's Ultimate Universe, which had about a 15-year shelf life, definitely started to dwindle after about 8 or 9 years and slowly declined into irrelevance. And if Marvel don't come up with their next idea, or DC don't have their follow-up idea for Absolute Universe that's actually appealing to comic book fans or can get new people in, they're going to be right back where they started. Marvel and DC are comic book publishers, but they're part of something much bigger. They're part of enormous entertainment conglomerates. And these people are not interested in artistic integrity. They're always going to lean on what they think is popular at the moment. So we have to be vocal. We have to tell them, this is cool. You have to support awesome books like Aquaman, Green Lantern. You have to go out there and support amazing books like Aliens versus Avengers. You need to go out there and support great books like Space Ghost and Flash Gordon and some of the really cool stuff going on at DC like Batman and Robin. Buy the good books, ignore the garbage, because the lesson is clear from all of this. Fan criticism works when it's backed by purchasing power. And I'm not going to pretend like this feels anything less than amazing. After being called a toxic alt-right Nazi for wanting good stories, seeing books like Ultimate Spider-Man or Absolute Batman break records, it's vindication on a massive scale. We weren't the problem. We were the solution the entire time. This proves when the industry listens to their actual fans, their buying audience, instead of Twitter activists and corporate consultants, they can actually create products that succeed. When they respect legacy characters instead of deconstructing them, fans respond with their wallets. And the battle isn't over. These successes are just the beginning. We need to keep supporting what works. I promise to keep calling out what doesn't work. The fans save comics. Now let's make sure that they remember that. And if you want to understand just how bad things were just 1 year ago, you do need to check out my video, DC Comic Sales Hit Terrifying New Lows. It'll show you exactly why this vindication matters so much. Link in the video description, and I'll see you in the next one.